Tim and I came up with some suggestions of players that card prices could rise or fall for the upcoming NBA playoffs. So we've got a list for you, and Ricky's going to help facilitate that. So Ricky, go ahead and lead away.
Okay. So Timmy, in the Eastern Conference, pick 2 players in the first 4 seeds and tell me why they will rise and fall.
Joel Embiid. He's going to drop like a rock. He's been, talk of MVP this year. And even despite that, his card values have just not reflected that at all. The last I saw of his National Treasures RPA graded a BGS 9.5. That sold for a solid 24.6 thousand back in March. No sales since then. And I don't know, I don't see people saying, hey, I picked this Joel Embiid RPA up. How cool is that? That's my thought there.
Okay, so I have questions about him. Assuming that there's an opening here. Do you think he's going to go down in value because Philadelphia loses early, or because he's a big man that isn't worth money, or because of some other reason?
He's going to go down early. The Sixers are just going to go up in flames. And I present the game on April 14th as my proof why. So they're playing the Nets at home. I'm a bit of a gambler, so I put some money down on the Sixers minus 8.5.
Yeah, now we're talking, Ricky. This is what we're here for.
Yep. And so fourth quarter, I'm kind of half-heartedly watching this while doing some other stuff. And, I see them up 112 to 90. That's a pretty solid lead, 22 points, right? So that's 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They're up 22. Doc Rivers, being the great coach that he is, decides to take out his starters. So Embiid and Simmons, they take a rest. Promptly, the Sixers decide to blow the cover by losing 123 to 117. So frustrating. But what was really funny, though, so the Nets, Nets bench was just busting a gut the whole time. Kyrie Irving had played, but he was just resting the whole fourth quarter. There was no thought about putting him back in to try to actually win the game. He was just sitting on the sidelines, just laughing at the Sixers. The crowd was also just laughing at Embiid. Every free throw, you just heard, Embiid sucks. Embiid sucks. People do not like this guy. It doesn't matter what he does. He plays for a losing team. Despite what he wants to project, he's a loser. So his cards are going to bomb.
I agree. He's not very likable when I've seen him, and when you see him getting other players' faces, and he's a teetotaler. It's not like he even has a substance abuse problem we can blame it on. He just is a jerk. But he's a hard player. He's trying to play the way he feels is right, I suppose. Chad, tell us 2 players in the top 4 seeds in the West, and tell us why you think they'll rise or fall.
Certainly. The first guy is someone that I do not like to watch as an NBA player, and that's Chris Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Traditionally not a fan. I'm a Utah Jazz fan, came out in the same class as Darren Williams. So initially I didn't like him for that reason. He kind of seems like a punk. He's the guy that you probably love if he's on your team, and you just don't like him if you're playing against him. But some data points here to back this up on why I think his card prices will go up during the playoffs. His 2005 Topps PSA 10 can be purchased for under $1,000. And the pop report of that rookie card is 163, which is pretty darn low.
Mm-hmm.
Even at that price of less than $1,000, I pulled up this research a week ago, so it's slightly dated, is up 200% just over the past couple of months. So already starting to climb, but I think it has room to grow. The Phoenix Suns are probably going to be the 1 seed in the West, if not the 2 seed, due to some injuries on the Jazz. Plus, they're just playing really well.
Right.
So it's going to put them in good position. Plus, some deep dive research here. Chris Paul has 8 game-winning shots, according to 82games.com. Top 25 in NBA history. And if you get the Suns winning games in the playoffs and maybe he hits a game winner, ooh, baby. Those card prices, I think, will go up. Thoughts?
Timmy?
I mean, it's the likability factor, right? Like during my scrolling through Raz rooms, I don't ever see a Chris Paul card surface ever. You know, I don't see Chris Paul cards being bought and sold, being asked for or chased after. I mean, by merit alone, his card should be worth a ton. You know, I mean, he's a very successful point guard, really good captain. But yeah, I don't see it. Ricky?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Not likable. And I just had a name pop in that I'd spaced. It's weird because they use him so much for national commercials, so they think his likability is to some degree. But I agree with you. I don't know anyone that really likes Chris Paul. And I think that you could probably compare it to some other. But no, I think that if they're not likable, you're not going to see a large demand for it.
Well, in that case, you guys are going to love the second one, especially you, Kyle. The second player that I have, who I think is going to go up in the Western Conference, is the most likable Paul George of the Clippers. Huh?
Meh.
There's a guy that's easy to hate. It's 2012 Panini Prism PSA 10, has a pop report under 100, currently around $500, which is even less than it was last summer. That card has actually gone down in value, despite the fact that the last 10 games or so, Paul George has been playing out of his mind. The Clippers at the time of recording have won 11 of 13. They look to be not the 1 seed in the West, but possibly the best team in the West. If playoff Paul can actually get it going, his card prices could really go. And Tim, I think that your likability factor plays a role with my purchasing for sure, and others purchasing.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's probably a downside for him, as you mentioned, but could that also be an upside to buy his cards now if you're looking to flip them? Because no one likes the guy. No one believes in the Clippers, and you can buy him for cheap now. But if by chance they do pull it together and he does continue this streak that he's going on now and they win, then maybe you sell his cards, you hit up Mr. eBay and make some deals there on eBay and make some money.
Exactly. It'd be hard to get that wrong card value wise. Like I don't see him like depreciating any further if he just kind of holds his status quo as a player and doesn't really impress in the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, he's playing really, really well. I've definitely bet his over for points a handful of times, especially when Kawhi's out. I mean, like he puts it out there. On the flip side of that, like him going off alone is just not going to be enough for them to go deep. So if like he just decides to putter out again, sputter out, and it's just down to either Kawhi or him like carrying the team, no, his cards are, I don't see it. But maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the year he disproves all his critics.
Maybe.
You know, the thing with Paul George, I feel that his fans are fans of his regardless of team, meaning his cards have sold well even as he's moved on. You know, at the same level. They haven't dropped off after he's been traded, in my experience. And that's because I've sold a autographed Indiana Pacers card when he was at least on the Thunder, and I think he had gone to the Clippers by then. But I feel like him and Kawhi are the same way, that they seem to, it's more the player name recognition rather than, oh, I need a LeBron on the Lakers right now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be an interesting 1-2 punch. Buy in on that. Maybe handcuff your sports card investing with the Paul George and Kawhi.
Oh man,
Good.
Go down with those two players. I don't know.
Steve Ballmer likes it.
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna have a seizure thinking about it. Yeah.
Cheering it on in its head. Tim, in the Western Conference, who are a couple of players in the lower seeds, 5 to 10, who might rise or fall?
Man, this is fascinating. I don't even know why like the Warriors and the Mavs are down there, but I didn't get super creative here, but I picked Curry to start with as far as his cards going up. And, again, kind of like Chad hinted at, we did some of this research about a week ago. And even since then, Curry's just been like, he's playing out of his freaking mind. I mean, we're never going to see anything like this. He's like shooting guard wise, it's just amazing. Unfortunately, his cards, though, like right now, I would say are like still super undervalued. If you compare his 2009 Topps refractor, that it's got a population report of 29. 29. I mean, that's like stupid low. I mean, we just talked about how the LeBron patch auto out of 23 like went for millions, right?
Right.
And that card's only at 98.5K, so 98,500. Compare that to Kobe, which I think is the standard bearer for guards and card values. With the championships, all of that, and likability. His 1996 Topps Chrome refractor, slightly higher population report of 63, and that sold for 246,000. I mean, so that disparity is huge. I mean, it's inevitable that a card with only a population count of 29 for one of the most likable guards and players of this generation, like you hinted at, Ricky, like kids these days are watching him play and just have that sentimental value and pull towards him eventually. And so that card's it's got to go up. It's impossible for it to go down.
That's some good data, man.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised that Curry cards even fell. I mean, I realized that the Warriors had their issues and were a bottom team, but he's one of the greatest players of all time, and his career is not even close to over.
Nope.
That seems like a no-brainer to me that those cards are only going to go up over time. You didn't talk about the Luka yet.
No, don't get me started on Luka. So
you just had like a $1,000 Luka. Why are you mad at Luka?
Right. No, I'm that's exactly why I don't have that card anymore. In true Tim fashion, in the time that I sent that card off and did a freaking hobby pack about why I was super excited about finding that card or remembering that I sent that card off for grading, last week it was selling for $3,500. The day before I get it in the mail, the latest comp is $2,250. I hate him even more just because of that alone. And there's no way that a Mavs team with him as the feature scorer and like a crippled Kristaps is going to go anywhere in the playoffs. So his cards are not going to appreciate. His MVP candidacy this year is out the window. The market is correcting on his cards that have like gobs and gobs and thousands of his Silver Prism rookie cards. Like it's just.
I tend to agree with you, Timmy. I mean, that was a mouthful. I do agree with you that Luka.
That's what Ricky said.
Luka is overhyped. I do not understand this love of him. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a great player, but he's one of your top tier 2 or 3 best players in the league. And he sells that way. His cards sell as well as any other active player's cards I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And I just I don't get it. And I tend to side with you, Timmy. I don't know about you, Chad, but when I get those Lukas, it's get them graded and get them out the door.
Yeah. Lastly, Eastern Conference, 2 players in the last 5 seeds or so, and thinking about card prices. So I've got a real one here. It's going to break everyone's bank, everyone's cards. Indiana Pacers, Edmund Sumner. Yeah. I know you're going to hear it here
there's
first.
A name.
Yeah. Oh, I have one of his cards.
Well, no, you need to get rid of it.
Of course you do, Ricky. Of course
you need to get rid of it. This guy's a total loser. In the game against the Jazz 2 weeks ago, this dude scores 4 points, 2 turnovers, and is -7 on the plus minus. But he's also a member of the Cobra Kai, and he swept the leg out from Donovan Mitchell.
Sweep the leg. You have a problem with that?
In the furthest extension of a leg that I've ever seen in my life.
That was bad.
An injury.
Yeah.
That's it.
Makes me so mad.
My Edmund Sumner is going off to Wax Museum podcast. Take that bad juju with you.
You can go get his 2017 Prism Silver PSA 9 for $22 on eBay.
He has a Prism Silver?
Oh, it's sold, and it was probably shill bid too.
Probably.
So that one's going down. 2 quick ones though. RJ Barrett, he has really soared with the Knicks on their winning streak. RJ has scored 17 points per game in the last 10, averaging 40% on those high flying threes that everyone loves. At the time of this recording, Knicks have won 9 out of 10. They're climbing up the playoff boards. His Prism PSA 10 base, $150, which is down from a high of $300 previously. So I think he's got lots of room to grow. And then lastly, guys, nope. Wait for it. Washington Wizards. They're a basketball team. That's who I'm trying to say. Anyone on that team? That team looks good. And also, Tim, have you ever heard of a guy named Bradley Beal? How sick would it be to have a rookie Prism autograph of that guy? Huh?
Yeah, just in time for them to have their moment in the playoffs potentially.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic.
It
Keep that
would
in
have been a
mind.
shiny card. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. All right, rant over.
All right. When we get back, Mr. eBay has re-ramped up his shop. He's open for business. I'm sure I was driving Chad nuts at 1 a.m. listing cards because he gets alerts. We're going to talk a little more about that. And I want to talk with you, Timmy, a little bit about non-fungible tokens a little more.
Gosh.
We'll be right back after this.